Hi, my name is Libby Wright, and I would like to welcome you to our broadcast today in Your Best Weight, our SupplementRelief.com's program. We're going to speak today about our first topic, which is hydration. So we're going to talk about water and all different types of hydration besides water. And we're just going to talk about the fact that, you should probably drink a lot of water, but we have a lot of excuses as to why we don't. So I'd like to talk with you just a little bit about that today. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I want to remind you, my name is Libby Wright. I'm one of the founders of SupplementRelief.com. I'm not a medical professional. I just do this as a service to other people based on my own personal experiences getting myself healthy. I'd also like to remind you that we do keep all attendees in listen-only mode, so you are muted. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask at the end of the session, please go into your questions section in your GoToWebinar control panel. Go ahead and type those in, and we'll get to as many of those as we can before our time runs out. We do try to keep this to a 20-minute session, so get us those questions, and we'll get to as many as we possibly can in that 20-minute time period. So now we get on with the fun part. Before I say anything more, though, I do also want to remind you that before you start any regimens, be they supplements, new diets, new exercise, anything like that, we always think it's best for you to clear it with your health professional and highly encourage that. So with that, we're going to go ahead and start talking about hydration. And we're going to start with a little parable. A parable is just a story with a meaning. And basically, this parable is about knowing what you should do, but not really knowing your goal, okay? So we are attempting to move across country. We're moving out west from Michigan. And right now we have boxes everywhere and movers. They've been here all day moving all of our possessions out west. And my husband and I were sitting at the kitchen table Sunday night, and my husband said to me, okay, Libby, what do we need to do to get ready for Tuesday? What is our strategy? What needs to be accomplished? And I just kind of laughed, and I said, okay, here's my big strategy. Are you ready for it? We were both totally fried and exhausted after all the boxing we had done all weekend. And I said, everything that's not in a box needs to go in a box before Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. when the movers get here. And we both laughed because, you could come up with some crazy strategy and try and think about this or that or the other. But really, at the end of the day, we just needed to get it done. Everything we wanted to go out west had to get into a box by Tuesday morning, or it couldn't go with us. So I'd like to talk with you about hydration in that sense. We know we're supposed to hydrate. We know what we're supposed to do. Sometimes we don't know how to do it, but sometimes it's simply because we don't have a good goal in mind. Now, there are a lot of different ways that we can talk about goals. One thing would be with our perfect weight is to talk about our body mass index calculator. So I'd like to walk you through that really quickly. This is kind of a standard in the industry of what a BMI should be. This is not body fat percentage. This is measuring all the different components of your body and figuring out what your BMI is. Now, if you're an elite athlete, a high performer, or you're working with an integrative provider like a physician, these numbers are going to be a little bit different. They're going to be a little less forgiving, shall we say. But for our purposes, in general, this is what we're going to talk through. So underweight is the first category I'd like to talk with you about. 18.5% or less would be underweight in the body mass index. And one of the things we like to talk about with your best weight is the fact that sometimes it's not just a problem of being fat. People think, oh, I'm too heavy, oh, I'm overweight, oh, I'm obese. But underweight can be just as damaging and difficult for people as overweight. So we want to make sure that we don't neglect the fact that if you're underweight, you may need to do some things to bulk up and get yourself healthier, okay? So that's number one. Number two, a normal BMI, 18.5 to 24.9. That means you're in that healthy range. Again, if you're working as an elite athlete or with a physician who's an integrative provider, they may want to trim that number down just a little bit, but that's our general rule of thumb. Overweight, 25% to 29.9%, and then over 30% would be obese. And we want you to remember, overweight and obese are medical diagnostic codes. So these tell us that you are at a higher risk for things like high blood pressure, diabetes, just glucose problems in general, heart disease, all these different things. So you just want to make sure that that if you are in the overweight or obese category, that you're taking care of that. Now, if you want to play around with this calculator a little bit yourself, you can see this at the bottom of the screen. And we do record all these webinars. You can feel free to go back and look at that in our recordings to find this website if you can't find it. But I would highly encourage you, if this is something you're interested in, to go in and speak with an integrative provider, a health coach, go into a gym. They can do a BMI with you very quickly and easily. So one goal could be that BMI. I want to get my BMI to, let's go back for a minute. Let's say that we're in the overweight category. Maybe we want to get our BMI to 20 or 21. Or maybe we're obese and we want to move down a category. Whatever that is to get you into that best weight for you, that will really be what's perfect for you. So I'd encourage you to set a goal in what your BMI is. That's one good way to set goals. The second thing is hydration. Now, a lot of people just want to know how much is enough. But if we were all sitting in a room together today, not in our virtual classroom, I would have us play a game and say, let's fill in the blank. So I would say everyone needs to drink blank glasses of water every day. And everyone would say 6 to 8 8-ounce glasses of water every day, right? So I don't have us in the virtual classroom, but I'd like to give you the formula that, again, is an industry standard, something that we like to use as a guiding principle for people to know how much water they really should drink in a day. So, and this, again, is found on our website as well. So let's say you weigh 100 pounds. We're just going to keep this real simple. We'll divide that in half. So we'll go to the number 50. That's how many ounces in water every day you should be drinking. That's your goal. That's the minimum. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you should be drinking a minimum of 50 ounces of water per day. If you weigh 200 pounds, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water every day, and so it goes. So it's a very simple formula to help you get there. Now, most people do not drink this much water every single day, I'll just tell you. It takes some work and some effort, and it takes some thought behind it. And at the end of our time, if we have enough time, I'll be able to share with you a little bit more about how I count my water every day. If not, that's on the website as well. So a lot of people wonder, why does water matter? Now, that might seem like kind of a counterintuitive question. We know that we're, made up of a lot of water as organisms, but there are some really specific reasons why water matters, especially when we're trying to get to that best weight. When you're well hydrated, your metabolism is working the very best that it can, and you burn calories actually a lot faster than if you were dehydrated, even a little bit. Here's an interesting quote, that people, after they drank water, their metabolism began to increase within 10 minutes, with a maximum of 30 to 40 minutes getting higher calories burned. It's a really good thing. Another article that we have on our website talks about depression and fatigue and things like that. That's another side effect of being dehydrated. So water matters for more than just the typical reasons we think of. Here's another thought that I want to pass on to you. Now, we need to stay hydrated, but most people do not hydrate strictly from water. About 50%, this is an average here, 50% of people get their fluid from water, 30% get fluid from other beverages, 20% get fluid from other foods. So one of the things you may be wondering is, okay, I need to up the ante, I need to get more water in my diet, but I really don't like to drink water. What else can I do? Well, maybe you can bump that fluid from other beverages up a bit more to help you get that hydration in. We recommend black coffee, green teas. Those are both very good antioxidants, as long as you're not pouring a bunch of sugar in there, a bunch of milk in there. If you're doing the green teas or the coffees, those are very good and healthy for you in general. Also, you can add a lot of fluid in by changing the way you eat. And again, that may seem a little bit counterintuitive, but let me show you what I mean. So you can actually eat your water, and one of the things we suggest when you're trying to hydrate and just change your life in general and get into your best weight, and we'll take a whole week on eating alone, but I just want to share a little bit of this with you. Some of these fruits like watermelon, cantaloupe, strawberries, peaches, they have the highest water content. So when you eat those, it's actually 90% fluid. 90% water. Vegetables, you've got cucumbers, lettuces, celeries, and zucchini. That was one that was a little bit of a surprise to me. But you can actually up your water and your fluid intake simply by choosing to eat these. So instead of maybe going to the vending machine or going into the cupboard and grabbing some crackers, try some of these fresh fruits and vegetables, and that's going to help you to hydrate yourself even more. So what else can really be done? We just touched on whole natural foods. The less processed foods you eat and the more natural foods you eat, the more hydration you're naturally going to get. Movement every day is another thing that you can do, maybe another goal you can set for your best weight. And the best movement that we have found is something called Tabata. And there's a lot of different variations of this, but basically it's short bursts of activity, and they're intense, and you do it very briefly, a couple times a day, and it actually has been shown in some of the literature to reduce blood sugar numbers in diabetics. So I like to do Pilates in the morning, a short burst of it, maybe 10 minutes, but I really get my heart rate going. And then in the evening I might go for a fast walk, or might play some soccer with my kids, whatever it is I can do to get my heart rate up again. It's a very simple way to do it. A lot of people feel intimidated going to the gym or saying I'm going to sign up for this class or that class because it's such a long time commitment. You know, if you go to a yoga class or a spin class, you might be committing 2.5, maybe even 3 hours of your time by the time you get to the gym, do your workout, and then, leave and head to your next destination. So I recommend these short bursts of activity. They're going to help you a lot. The other thing I'd recommend is supplements. We're talking today about the basics. So hydration is really as foundational and ground level as you can get. But right behind it is supplementing yourself. A lot of people do not eat perfectly. Most people don't. We don't have an organic farm. We don't have a garden in our backyard. Sometimes people end up in drive-thrus. Sometimes people are eating and drinking things that are not healthy for them. So what can you do to give your body the best advantage that you can? That's very simple and easy to do. This Maintain, Don't Gain pack is really good for anyone, whether you need to lose weight or not. It's kind of our gold standard. It's what we start people on who have never really been on supplements or have some energy issues. So NuMedica is a great multivitamin. We've got it in men's, women's, or just a plain one for either. Corda B-Plex is going to help with that energy level. And then Adrenamet is something that helps people with their stress. We work a lot in the manufacturing sector, and one of our clients came to us and said, you know what? I was drinking 2 pots of coffee a day just to stay on my feet the whole time I needed to be working. And instead of drinking the 2 pots of coffee, now I'm actually just using these supplements and drinking a little bit of coffee throughout the day just because I enjoy the flavor of it. Wow, it's a big change. And so these are some great supplements to just get you started if you've maybe never been in the supplement world before. So I guess what I'd like to bring to you now is, what is your goal? What is your challenge? I'd like to ask you to post at least one goal in the discussion forum of this week's lesson. If you haven't been to our website yet or haven't really explored it, I highly recommend that you do it. We've got a watch tab with a short instructional video where I'm teaching a little bit on hydration. We've got a challenge where we're asking people to change one habit each week. We've got some great definitions. We've got a really nice article on more about hydration and ways that you can hydrate yourself. And then we've also got this discussion forum. The discussion forum is a way for us to communicate with each other. It's a way for us to ask questions that maybe we wouldn't feel comfortable asking. And we can just say, who's tried NuMedica? What do you think of it? How are you hydrating? Whatever it is your questions are. Or you can post a response and let us know what you're doing this week to change your hydration levels. So we're going to delve in. We've got just a few minutes left here, and I wanted to delve in for just a second into our questions. So we have several questions. If you have not posted your question yet, feel free to do that in the GoToWebinar control panel. There is a button called Questions, and you can go ahead and type your question in, and I'll be able to see it. As I mentioned before, I keep all of the participants muted so that we don't have unwanted background noise. So feel free to type in your question, and I'll try and get to it if I can. I'll plow through as many of these questions as I can, but I do want to remind you it's a 20-minute webinar. So let's see. It looks like our first question is soda. Okay, this is a big one for people. There are a lot of people who are drinking sodas, energy drinks, things like that. What is our opinion on it? Okay. First of all, the worst possible thing you can do, especially if you're trying to lose weight, is to drink diet soda. There are research studies that actually prove that diet soda actually can help you increase your weight. You can actually gain weight using diet soda. And that's because there's so many chemicals in it, and these sweeteners are not natural. Your body doesn't know what to do with them, and it can actually cause weight gain. So if someone is truly addicted to soda, what I recommend, first of all, if they're addicted to diet soda, is switch over to a regular soda. Make sure you're not drinking the soda with the high fructose corn syrup, though. Switch over to a soda sweetened with sugar. That's way better for you, actually, than using those diet sodas or the high fructose corn syrup. Then what I suggest is a weaning process. And this is how I actually got off of the sodas myself. I was addicted to them for a lot of years. And basically what we do is we tell people to get your can or your bottle of soda, whatever it is you usually do during the day. Instead of just drinking it down like you normally would, we want you to pour it into a glass. Now, when you pour it in the glass, your job day one is to leave maybe a tablespoon in the bottom of it. You're not going to get a headache. You're not going to get withdrawal. Whatever it is that you do, maybe you drink 3 sodas a day. Okay, well, leave a tablespoon in the bottom of it. Just decrease it by a little bit. The next day, decrease it by a little more, a little more, a little more each time, until by the end of the month, you're basically not going to need or want sodas anymore. It takes usually about a month for your taste buds to change and for you to realize, hey, this really doesn't even taste that good. Now, some people who are really addicted may need to do this just a little bit longer, so feel free to take as much time as you need. But the nice thing about this process is you're not getting the withdrawals and you're not getting the gross headaches generally. So we definitely recommend that you switch over to coffees or green teas, things like that, and reduce and eliminate those sugar-sweetened beverages, those high fructose corn syrup sweetened beverages, as well as definitely anything that is a chemical sweetener. So that's that question. Second of all, how do you count water consumption? Okay, well, I have a very simple way. I don't know who came up with this. I read it in an article somewhere, but it works really well for me. So what I do is I get myself a water bottle each day. I have a nice glass one that I use that's covered in rubber, so I don't have to worry about it breaking. And I have rubber bands on my water bottle. And they all start at the bottom of the container, and as I drink one of the full water bottle containers, I move a rubber band up. And that helps me to measure exactly how much water I've taken in each day. So that's a simple way to do it. There's a lot of different things you can do to measure your water. I've heard of people putting rubber bands on their arms, bracelets. There's a million different scenarios. There's also other apps and things like that you can get that actually track your water consumption. I found that was too hard to be entering it into my phone or my smartphone all the time. So my water bottle was with me anyway. That's kind of how we came up with that. And then the third question we get very often, and I see it here as well, is what if I just don't like the way water tastes? What do I do? Okay, number one, your water may just not taste good out of the tap. So don't give up on water altogether just because your water doesn't taste good. I'd recommend that you get a water bottle with a filter in it. It's not that expensive of an investment. You can also get a pitcher. Try that and see if you like the way water tastes better. You can also go try different bottled waters at the store if you wanted to do something like that. You can probably find a water that you like. Based on the alkalinity, the water changes a lot. Also, the other things that are in it, the minerals that are naturally occurring in the water, will change it a lot. Well water versus city water. There are a lot of different things you can do. So I'd recommend that you get that. Second thing I'd recommend is that you try infusing your water. You've always heard of, or most people have heard of lemon in water, right? So you don't have to just stop there. You can do lime in water. You can do berries in water, grapes in water. Cucumber in water is actually one of my favorites. It's very refreshing. You can even put herbs in there like mint, peppermint. I even had water a couple of weeks ago with rosemary in it, and I thought, I don't know if I'm going to like that, but it was actually very tasty. So the options are endless because there are a lot of herbs out there. That would be another thing you can do. If you still just can't tolerate the taste of it, I'd recommend a green tea or a really nice herbal tea. There's a million of them out there that would still be caffeine-free, and it's still taking you toward that hydration goal. So again, I'd highly recommend that you just get that hydration in any way you can, and if you still are just not keen on water, don't try to set the goal to, a few slides back we talked about if you weigh 100 pounds, you need to drink 50 ounces of water every day. Well, if you don't drink any water at all right now, it's going to be really hard to get up to that 50-ounce mark anytime soon. So I'd recommend instead that you set a reasonable goal for yourself. So if you don't drink any water at all throughout the day, say, I will drink 10 ounces of water every day. And every week or two, just keep amping that up. And before you know it, you will be at the point where you're drinking water every single day at the correct proportion. Water is just very nourishing. It is helping you detoxify, and it's just going to be something that will really help you get to your best weight, which is our ultimate goal, right? Last question I think I have, and then we have to run here, is it too late for my friend to join? I have someone who I know would really benefit from this. The answer is, of course, we would love to have them join. All you need to do is go to supplementrelief.com and join, and go to the join banner with our Your Best Weight program, and we'd be happy to have them come. Also, if they need to catch up because they were not able to be at this webinar will be posted online, and our webinars every single week are posted online, so you can catch up if you don't make it. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for all the questions. It's been my pleasure to work with you. You have a great night. Thank you.